Hey, Doc Steve here, and I made a prediction in one of my first videos that's come true. Bet you didn't know I was a prophet. Neither did I. But more on that in a sec. First, the background. So I first started making these videos back in the winter during the coronavirus surge, and to be honest, they were really lousy. I couldn't get a single one beyond the cringe-worthy stage until a couple months later, I stumbled upon the assistance of two people, both of whom were probably less than half my age, one for technical assistance and one for kind of social media and online advice. And through them, shout out to both Joe and Esther, I was able to get a video to the point where I wasn't going to cringe if I put it online. But at that point, several months had passed, and frankly, coronavirus was in rapid decline in this country. Death counts were down, case counts were down, vaccination rates were up, and to be honest, everything was looking pretty hunky-dory, and I thought to myself, why even bother at this point? But I knew one thing about coronaviruses, and that's what I said in the video. They change. Like all viruses, coronaviruses change, and they can get worse. And they'd already gotten worse in other countries, and I was pretty sure we were going to get a coronavirus variant that was going to be worse in this country, and I said so. Prediction fulfilled. The Delta is here. So I'm subtitling this video,
"The mutants are coming."
Sorry, I know I should have put up the PG-13 warning for that because it was a little scary. But to be honest, I kind of want to scare some of you folks. Some of my liberal friends are more worried about this virus than they need to be. This is borne out by some of the things I've seen. Good example, when driving around in your car, you don't need to have the window up and a mask on, or whatever that is. Some people are more concerned about this than they need to be, but a lot of my conservative friends are nowhere near as worried about this virus as they should be. So variant is such a vanilla word. We need a scarier word, and that's why I like mutant. I'm actually looking for a scarier word. I might come up with it before we're done. But for now, variant's out. It's literally almost like it's just a different flavor of ice cream or something. So why do I want people to be a little more afraid? Well, there's basically two reasons, but first, couple definitions. Mutation. Now, a mutation is not the same thing as a variant. A lot of people kind of confuse those things. Mutation is just a change in the genetic material of the virus that basically causes the virus to have some different characteristics. And these things accumulate over time. There's tons of them. A lot of them just die out, but some of them are more significant for us because they affect how the virus deals with us. A variant is a strain of the virus that has accumulated a bunch of these mutations, and it's accumulated enough so that it's made it identifiably different from other strains. So it's a variant. It's kind of like dog breeds. It's not exactly the same, but kind of like that. Variant of concern and variant of interest. These are terms that the CDC and the World Health Organization use when a strain has been identified that has accumulated enough mutations of a certain kind to make them more dangerous for humans. That's basically what that's talking about. Mutant? Well, mutant is just my scary word for a variant. So you heard me say that there's two reasons I want some people to be a little more worried, a little more scared about this virus. Well, the first one is this. Not only are the mutants coming, but
the mutants are here.
Namely the Delta virus. So the first reason is the Delta. There's three criteria that the World Health Organization and the CDC use to place a variant or mutant in the category of a variant of concern. Let's see how the Delta squares up against those. So the first one, is it more contagious than the original virus? Do more people more easily get infected? And the answer to that is clearly for the coronavirus, absolutely yes. It looks like it's probably about twice as infectious or contagious as the initial virus and significantly more contagious than the other variants. That's why it's kind of taken over as the primary variant in this country. So that definitely gets a score 1 for that. Number 2, can it evade our body's immune system, specifically the immunity that we've built up against the virus through either vaccination or natural infection so far? So the Delta definitely gets partial credit for this because it does seem to be able to evade our frontline defenses better than the original coronavirus, even in vaccinated individuals. We have this frontline defense that's in our kind of nose and throat, and that's what keeps us from getting colds. And the Delta can get into that even in vaccinated people and give you an infection that's got maybe mild symptoms or no symptoms, but you can still pass it. So misinformation alert. I saw a headline recently, vaccines are only 43% effective in preventing the Delta variant. Guys, Yeah, maybe it's only 43% effective in preventing a cold from the Delta variant, but it's still super effective in preventing death. The implication of this headline was, why get the vaccine if it's only 43% effective? Well, if you don't want to get a cold, I guess you can skip the vaccine. But if you don't want to die, it's still a really good idea. Second misinformation alert related to this. Guys, please stop dissing the CDC for doing their job. There's a lot of flack given them by changing and waffling on their mask recommendation as if they didn't know what they were talking about. Guys, this was new information. The virus does get into vaccinated people and enable them to pass it. That's why they changed the recommendation, not because they didn't know what they were doing. The third factor is it more deadly? Is there a higher death rate, higher mortality from the coronavirus? And although they're not completely decided on this at the time of this recording, it does look like this variant is going to have a higher mortality and possibly a significantly higher mortality, even among the younger age groups. I say this because of multiple reports that I've heard. I just literally heard something recently about a church in Florida that had 6 deaths in its population out of about 40 people infected over the course of 2 weeks. And 4 of them were under age 35. One was actually 24. And that proportion of people dying out of a local population of only about 40 people ill, and especially of younger people dying, really suggests that this is going to have a higher mortality, including among younger people. And I hear multiple reports like that. So my prediction, and I'm pretty good at predicting, right, is that it's going to pan out to have a significantly higher mortality. So this variant has 2.5 out of 3 of the points that gives it a variant of concern, in my opinion, at this point. I think it's a really bad variant. So what's the second reason? Well, just as the mutants are already here, so
More mutants are coming.
did you know that the virus needs us for mutations? Do you feel warm and fuzzy? Do you feel your heart going pitter-pat? Do you feel needed? Well, I hope not, because the virus needs us to make more mutations. As long as there's a sea of humanity for it to float around in and infect other people, there's going to be new mutants. And guess what? The next mutant could be worse. One of the main reasons for getting more people vaccinated is not just that there be less death and so that the economy can get back, but because the longer this circulates, the more we can get more mutants. And I want to remind you that the first 2 coronaviruses in this country, like I said in one of my early videos, SARS and MERS, had mortalities of 10% and 35%. And I don't know of a reason why this virus couldn't have a mutation like that. And let me tell you right now, if the Delta variant with its infectiousness gets a mutation that makes it have a mortality more in the 10, 15, 20% range, let me tell you, folks, that would be an absolute disastrophe. So that's why I want people to be a little bit more scared. I thought of my new word that's worse than mutant, okay? So see if you can guess it. So viruses are not really alive. Everybody who's taken microbiology or biology knows that viruses don't really fit the definition of life, right? They're out there, they lurk out there, they get you when you least expect it, they get inside you and destroy you from within. What does that sound like? Zombies. The zombie apocalypse is upon us and we didn't even know it. So guys, I have to say, if I can't scare you with the science about coronavirus, I'll scare you with scary pictures and scary words. So seriously though, if anybody out there knows somebody who needs to be a bit more scared about this Delta variant, please share the video with them. Until next time though, thanks for watching. See ya. Bye.